Hello and welcome to IVCA Conclave 2017 Day 2. I have with me today Mr. G. Mahalingam, whole-time member SEBI. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. What are your key takeaways from IVCA's annual conclave?
The first thing that I feel is the IVCA, the venture capital and the alternative investment is a growing industry in India. So for the growing industry, these kinds of conclaves come as a very important interactive forum where a lot of problems, issues related to the industry could get discussed. It could be addressed to the appropriate people, the regulators, authorities and the government. So it becomes a real good forum for people to have a real stock taking of the issue. So from that perspective, I feel that these conclaves are exceedingly useful.
How do you feel, sir, is the investment climate now, especially for foreign investment coming into the country?
The investment climate, you need to look at it from a relative viewpoint. If you look at the other countries, that is the developed countries, particularly the USA, that is just coming out of a big recession. Now the growth is picking up, the employment is picking up. If you look at the other developed economies, it's still to really go a long distance. Amongst the emerging market economies, India is definitely doing well. So if you look at the macroeconomic parameters of India, whether you look at growth, whether it is inflation, whether it is current account deficit, whether it is fiscal deficit, on all these fronts, I think we have been trying to really put the house in order. So this is going to really lay a solid foundation to retain the investor interest in India. So I feel actually India continues to be a real good destination target for the foreign investors.
And you don't feel that demonetization has had a very long-lasting effect on the economy?
No, this is something actually which only the figures will tell in times to come. As of now, when we saw the last growth GDP figures, I don't think really much has got impacted by demonetization. But then I have been reading some articles, analysis in the last about 2 to 3 days where people say that even the next quarter may show some kind of a dip. But I feel all this could be just blips in the overall growth trajectory of the economy. So my feeling is if the reform program is on track and the country is going to go on the other aspects of infrastructure building up and all that very well, I think we have a pretty good rosy chance of the growth taking up a very sustained trajectory.
So you're happy with the GDP numbers which have come out for the last quarter?
Yeah, certainly. I think the whole market is happy about, because the market was expecting somewhere close to about 6%. So 7% has been a positive surprise. Right. Yeah.
So, one of the ongoing issues that have been there with this current government has been job creation. Even by their own admission, we have heard that there are concerns about the number of jobs that are being created, not that many. How do you see us bridging that gap between demand for jobs and the actual creation of jobs?
No, this is something on which I will be finding it very difficult to answer, because I don't have the benefit of figures and all that. But from a general perspective, I can say that our country typically is made up of a lot of MSMEs. So if these MSME sector is given sufficient amount of push, I am very sure the job industry is going to really perk up. So this will come through. Maybe I think when we talk about even the venture capital funds and the alternative investment funds and their interest in the MSME sector, I feel that all this augurs well overall. But then only time will tell how things are going to pan out actually. But unfortunately, I don't have any benefit of statistics to back up my assertions.
Sure. But in a macroeconomic way, what are the challenges that we see, at least near-term challenges for the next few quarters?
Well, the near-term challenges, I would say certainly is number one, the fisc has to be in good shape as the government has done it so far, which means we should not allow the fisc to go out of shape. We are targeting about 3.2%, 3% of the GDP. This is going to be very good if we are able to achieve it. The current account has fairly come in a good trajectory, not much of a problem at all. But if the oil prices are going to go up, it's going to be a very big risk for the country. And we have already seen the oil prices going up from a level of almost about 45 to about 53, 55. If they are going to go up by another about $10, $15, it's going to create some amount of problems, some amount of pressures on the import front. And typically, monsoon can also play a big role. The news reports that are coming out right now indicate that, okay, I mean, El Nino phenomenon may not be very strong this time. So that augurs well. But then if it happens the other way, perhaps monsoon is going to play truant, then perhaps again it will have an impact on the agriculture, it will have an impact on inflation. But these are risks that we need to keep in mind, but otherwise I still feel overall the projections for the country are pretty strong, pretty positive. These are underlying risks that we need to keep in mind.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.